Hey everybody, Michael Berge with Digiday, back here at the Digiday studio at Possible. We're nearing the end of day 2, and we may have saved some of the best for last. So I'm very happy to have Jeff Greenspoon, Chief Client Officer with Dentsu. Thank you for coming, Jeff.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Is this your first Possible?
This is my first Possible. It's a pleasure to be here and really excited for what's been going on this week.
Good. Well, I will come back at the end of our conversation and ask you a little bit about kind of what you're picking up here. But I'm going to dive right into kind of the heavy duty stuff. A lot of people have been talking about, economic uncertainty,
Yeah.
partly brought on by tariffs, supply chain issues. I'd love to know, as Chief Client Officer, broadly speaking, what are you hearing from clients? Are we looking at clients that are thinking to pause spending to figure out where the bottom is? Are they pulling back out of fear? Are some leaning forward into perhaps gaining market share on competition? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so broadly, it's every single thing that you just said. I don't think
Okay, so you're getting a little bit of all.
there is no two client that has the exact same perspective. I think some are actually very bullish on this moment and trying to invest into it. It's a moment to build brand, but also to pull some market share forward, which is great. There's the other brands that are being a little bit more cautious and might have to do some supply chain optimization to get ready for what may come in the next couple of years. I think what is consistent across all clients, though, is I don't think we've ever run more scenarios on behalf of our clients and looking and understanding at what are all the different types of possibilities that could happen.
Yeah.
What are the scenarios that we would recommend, but then ultimately what is the impact that would drive on their business if consumer confidence stays the way it is, if the economy goes one way versus the other.
Yeah.
And then we can start to make some really interesting decisions on how fast do we spend in. So I think the scenario planning is number one. Second, every client, no matter what their perspective is or what their category is showing, they're looking for more flexibility. And so how do we approach the market in a way that allows us to just be super agile with the way that we both talk to their customer, but also in how we plan, spend, and optimize our investment?
Yeah, I'm sure that the media agencies are probably very busy trying to figure out how to get their media partners to offer that flexibility and maybe even a little more short-termism, which I find very interesting as we're about to head into an upfront market.
Well, we've been there before. I think if you look at the last 5 years, if you look at a couple of cycles before that, we've been in scenarios where we've had to have these conversations, where we've had to go to the market with more flexibility. And I think the market came back really well.
Yeah.
But now we're doing it with a different level of fidelity of experience. We have some good comps of what works, what doesn't. And now is how do you get creative and be more strategic with that flexibility and how you go to market?
Yeah, okay. Now, as Chief Client Officer across Dentsu, you probably have to do a little bit of air traffic control with, especially with clients that cut across the various Dentsu agencies. What are the opportunities with that? And maybe if you're willing, talk a little bit about what are the challenges of that, because you've got media, you've got creative, you've got CRM, you've got a lot of other elements that make up Dentsu.
The beautiful thing is no matter who, where, what, or how a capability comes to life for a client, be it one of our agencies or actually another agency, orchestration becomes so important. Oftentimes in IAT or integrated agency teams, it isn't super clear on who's lead, who's follow, who drives the campaign strategy. And what we've learned, because we've spent so much time building our integrated model, is that no matter the role that we play, be it media, creative, CRM, data technology, or all of them, we have a really defined process for how to orchestrate the capabilities. How you pass data from one team to the other, how you be more consistent in your briefing, and ultimately how you remember at the end of the day, it's the client's customer experience that matters. Like, what is the value that you're delivering to the client's customer or the consumer that actually delivers value or impact back to the enterprise, to the client, right? So therein lies the opportunity in trying to orchestrate with a very clear North Star. And we get very specific with our clients and our own agencies and other partner agencies, and how you start to connect dots in service of that North Star, in service of the innovation of the experience you're trying to deliver. The risk there, of course, are twofold. One, if you don't have a clear orchestration layer across agencies, which we think we've done a really good job at developing, then you start having different agencies going in different ways. I was just talking to one client who doesn't work with Dentsu and all of their different capabilities. And they have a different creative agency for every single brand, a different production agency for every single brand, but we're the consistent media agency across every single one.
Right.
And we start to show the gaps in the customer experience when the shopper team versus the retail team versus the brand team are trying to deliver a different message, but we then have to find a way to optimize it through media. There are ways through both orchestration, visioning, process, but also technology that can help us make it smoother for agencies and clients to work together, but also to ultimately deliver a better experience for the customer.
I've got to imagine that somewhere in all of that and what you've described is pretty bloody complex. Um, generative AI, and even machine learning to some degree, but machine learning's old school at this point, plays a role in how you make all that happen. But maybe generative AI has an even broader role in the company. How are you seeing that kind of laid in and overlaid on these challenges as well as opportunities?
So every part of that value chain that we just talked about will have AI, Gen AI, some sort of technology enablement underneath it. So first and foremost, to how do you craft and deliver the best brief? We call it the connected brief. So how do you think about all of the inputs, then using AI and Gen AI to make that better, to take insights from previous campaigns to help us brief smarter and take what we believe to be the key value drivers for the business out of our clients' minds and help them lead their interagency team. I think that's number one. Then we start to look at what are the white spaces, what are the growth opportunities, be it audience, be it messaging, and be it competitive intelligence. You can just analyze, as you know, so much more data and come back with recommendations in a much more conversational way. All the way through to planning, buying, content creation, optimization. Every part of the value chain is going to have some sort of Gen AI built into it. I think the interesting dynamic right now is there's so many different point solutions and so many different disruptions happening at different parts of that value chain that is ultimately fairly complex for brands, marketers, and CTOs and CIOs to ultimately understand what helps and what actually works and delivers value. So we've spent a lot of time taking all of the planning, buying, content creation tools that we've created over the years and just infusing the right tools and the right partners, be it something that we've developed ourselves or something that we've partnered with the best innovators in the space to make it better. We've also seen from our clients' perspective, they've obviously invested a lot in technology, which are the ones that we can optimize best for them. Probably the best example of that for us is Adobe. They're a partner of ours, but also a client of ours. And we've taken their Gen Studio product, which does end-to-end content supply chain. We've married it up with how to use programmatic and AI-driven media to get the best of the content and creative world and media worlds working together, but also the workflow that underpins that, making sure that agencies and clients are on the same platform, making sure that you're passing things off at the right time, ultimately driving effectiveness. But if you can find some efficiency levers along the way, why not? And so we're working with them as almost like a customer zero mentality. We're using it, we're building it for them, but then we're taking it to our other clients that are on their stack in a way to drive more value from that interagency team.
And I'm sure Adobe's learning a lot in terms of being able to incorporate some of that in their tools that then they ultimately sell.
And then we pass it on as value to our shared clients or to their clients that we don't work with.
No, that's a pretty smart. Thank you. That's a great explanation. So last question for you. I think this is your first possible.
It is. Yeah.
So, what are you taking from all this? Are there any particular signals or conversations you're listening out for that you bring back to your team to kind of help them absorb some of what you have?
Yeah, so I think our clients are looking for a perspective. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of noise, disruption, fragmentation in the industry, and clients ultimately want a partner that's going to lead them to what's going to drive the most value. And so what we're trying to do this week is spend a lot of time with each of those partners and each of those disruptors and each of those innovators to find where and how they add the best value. We're having those meetings with our clients here and with our teams and clients that are not here to bring it back and find the right ones that are going to add the right value to the right places in the ultimate customer value chain. So it's been great and lots more to learn.
So you spend a lot of time in meetings, it sounds
We
like.
spend a lot of time in meetings, some outside, some inside, but always nice to learn, understand, and then just figure out how we help clients navigate this space.
Got it. Makes sense. Well, I will let you get back to it. Thank you, Jeff, for your time. Jeff Greenspoon with Dentsu. Thank you.